it's easy to like say that you're working, but you're not getting quality work done, and you can just kind of like get sucked into it. Like you can just get sucked into your computer for 10, 12 hours a day. I mean, it's happened to me countless times. What you guys were able to tailor together for me and how personalized it was to helping me specifically was super critical, super sharp mentally, and then just like extremely energetic throughout the day. Like not really getting fatigued or feel like I'm slowing down at any point of the day. It was just like a cloud that had been lifted out of my mind. I saw the payoffs of that in what I was actually doing to work on my business. Before I started, I think I was between like 10 and 15K a month. And then, so I mean, basically to where it's gotten me, you know, around 40, pretty close to 50K a month.
Brady Carlson, welcome, man. Nice to have you here today.
Thanks for having me. It's nice to
Th-
see you again.
Thanks for jumping on. So let's get straight into it. I want you to kind of like give us a brief introduction of what you do, what kind of business you run, what you do with your company, and yeah, just preface this by letting us know who you are.
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, my name is Brady Carlson. In the agency space, been in the agency game for about like a year and a half now. We basically do marketing, appointment setting for contractors in the U.S. So that's kind of our bread and butter, kind of our market that we're kind of involved in. Yeah, I mean, been at it now for a while. Been scaling the business over the past year and a half. So it's been quite the journey so far. So here we are.
Interesting. So let's get back to what was it, 6 months ago or something? What kind of like what made you like obviously 6 months ago we started working together. What made you what is the reason we started working together? Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, really for me, I mean, I mean, as you know, a business owner, entrepreneur, I mean, it's really easy to get caught up in the day to day of, you know, like just business work. So you can kind of start to neglect, you know, a lot of the, you know, even just own personal health, right? I mean, taking into account what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, what you're putting into your body, what you're eating, you know, times of the day that you're working out, all of this stuff can kind of get neglected. And I think, you know, a lot of entrepreneurs tend to neglect it. I mean, unintentionally. But for me, I mean, that was like an area, you know, of my life that I really wanted to dial in and just kind of step up a little bit so I could see those results kind of bleed into um, the other areas of my life with business, whatever. So, I mean, that was my reasoning for really starting up with you um, and kicking things off when I did.
Mm. You said you found yourself stuck in the day-to-day operation. So what was the main things you were trying to work on? Or I guess what was the main reason you did this in terms of
Mhm.
the key aspects of your daily performance that you wanted to work on,
Sure.
or any issues you tried to resolve and optimize?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think it's easy. I mean, just in like the day to day, like kind of what I mean by that of, you know, just, you know, being like an entrepreneur, like being like in business, running an online business, you can get stuck at your computer like all day and not even realize it. Right. So I mean, the other things throughout the day, right? I mean, it's when I'm working out, what kind of workouts I'm doing, what am I eating, what's going into my body, like what am I doing outside of that that can help me perform better, you know, in that day to day when I'm actually working, right? Because it's easy to like say that you're working, but you're not getting quality work done. And you can just kind of like get sucked into it. Like you can just get sucked into your computer for, you know, 10, 12 hours a day. I mean, it's more. I mean, it's happened to me countless times. So, I mean, everything else, I mean, the health, you know, side of things, definitely, I mean, got to keep a close eye on it because that'll totally determine that work output and the quality of work. So, I mean, that was pretty much why I wanted to start up with you, kind of dial all that in.
But why did you want to do like why did you decide to start working with us, with me specifically?
I mean, I had talked to some other agency owners, other guys obviously that do, you know, what I do, and they had worked with you in the past. Heard good things. I was watching, you know, some of your content and everything. Just kind of like what you were all about, like what, you know, you guys were doing, what you guys were promoting. It was kind of right up my alley. So, I mean, that was pretty much it for me.
Hmm. Can you kind of like explain? Can you talk about what we worked on? What we like? What was the
Mhm.
behind the scenes things that what we helped you do? Like what were the things that we worked on together and we helped you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So, um, it was very in depth. It was really organized. It was very detailed. It was a lot more detailed than I thought it was going to be. I mean, right off the bat, especially. I mean, getting going. I mean, it was like establishing, those baselines for, sleep, diet, all these other things on a day-to-day basis. Then optimizing from there. So optimizing the diet, my workouts, right? What I was doing when I was working out, what days I was doing them on, to see the best results there. Um, I mean, basically the day-to-day schedule too, right? On the work blocks, like organizing my day. That was something. I mean, I didn't know that was going to be a part of it, but that was like a huge help for me, right? Like just helping me like really space out and the time blocks throughout the day. When I was working, when I was eating breakfast, when I was eating lunch, dinner, right? Doing all of these things. I mean, it kind of all it's like a big cycle, right? It all kind of plays into itself. So all parts of the day. I mean, the time I was going to bed, right? The time I was waking up in the morning. All these different points. I mean, that you guys kind of took over and really dialed in for me, helped me optimize. I mean, that was. I mean, it was a lot, but it was incredibly helpful.
In what way you mean helpful?
Yeah. So I mean, where do I even start with that? I mean, in all parts of my life, right? I mean, in the gym, like when I was eating, right? I mean, going to the gym in the morning, right? Then having a work block like when I got back, right? Being super dialed and like extremely focused, energized for like that first part. Then eating breakfast, right? And then having another, 2 hour work block. It just everything that you guys were doing and helping me with, I saw those results. I saw the payoffs of that in my actual work, right? Like in what I was actually doing to work on my business, and actually, being productive and producing uh, quality work for sure. I mean, that's the biggest. That's the area where I saw the biggest payoff for sure.
Interesting. What did you feel like was the top things that helped you the most? Like that you saw the biggest impact from in terms of energy, productivity, overall performance.
I think if I had to put my finger on it, it was probably diet. It was probably what I was eating, and when I was eating it. I think that was huge. Something I wasn't. I was taking it into consideration before I started up with you guys, but then once you guys kind of took it like a step further, and cut certain things from my diet, added certain things. I think that was the biggest thing for me. For sure. If I had to pinpoint it, I would say that area was probably highest leverage.
Hmm. And so describe where were you revenue wise, numbers wise before starting to work together, and where were you
Mhm.
after starting to work together?
Sure.
After
So
like
I
work
think
together.
before I started, I think I was between like 10 and 15K a month, right in that area. And then I mean even I mean I'm still doing like everything now that I mean was part of the protocol then. So I mean basically to where it's gotten me, around 40, pretty close to 50K a month.
Hmm. And I guess why do you think you were able to scale at such a rate? Because some people will say, I guess we speak to a lot of entrepreneurs, right? And you hear a lot of people say that I know what I need to go. I'm going to get there regardless, so I don't really need to like focus on optimizing my performance. So, in what way do you feel like this has helped you achieve what you have achieved today, in your opinion?
For sure. I mean, it's just I mean, it's a bunch of different things, right? I mean, everything that I was doing with you guys and that you guys were teaching me to do and having me do, um, I mean, it for one, I mean, it just boosts my energy levels and I mean, just even my mental clarity as well. Like as we started to really get into everything, I mean, I was just so sharp, like way sharper than I was, even like a month in, to really hitting the ground and getting everything off and running with you guys. Um, it was just like a cloud that had been like lifted, out of my mind. So I mean, it was just the mental clarity was there and my energy levels were there on a day-to-day basis. So I mean, you combine those two things. I mean, super sharp mentally and then just like extremely energetic throughout the day, like not really getting fatigued or feel like I'm slowing down at any point of the day. I mean, you combine those two things, it was just like a recipe for success, I guess.
Okay, good to hear that from your with your words. Um, what was your number one thing about working together, Brady?
Um, I think it was probably, I mean, there are a lot of great things, but I mean, the personalization aspect of it and how custom and tailored everything was to me. From a 30,000 foot view, I mean, every part of the protocol, the systems that you guys were implementing for me, it was custom to me. Like it was tailored to help me specifically, right? So it's not like it wasn't it didn't feel like, and it definitely wasn't, like a cookie cutter type of solution. I mean, it was very tailored to my life and the areas that I needed to improve on, to get done what I needed to get done essentially. So the personalization aspect of it was probably, my favorite part about it for sure.
Mm. I don't know if you remember what initially we had two calls before you actually joined us. So
Hmm.
I guess it seems like there was a level of skepticism, obviously, before
Hmm.
joining. So what were the things that you were skeptical about before doing this?
So the first time I talked to you, I mean, I just wasn't. It wasn't that I was necessarily skeptical. I mean, I had heard it from other people already, and then talking with you, meeting with you the first time, I mean, it was for me. I was like, okay, like I need to do this. I wasn't in a position at the time where, I mean, the business wasn't doing too great when I first met with you, right? So I had a bunch of other, leaky buckets that I had to take care of on my end, before I uh, was able to really start up with you. But I mean, I do I wish I would have done it sooner? Yeah, of course. I mean, doing it earlier, doing it sooner, I mean, would have just gotten me better results quicker. But and honestly, it was probably more of a self belief thing too. At the end of the day, right? I mean, sure, that idea is going to be, it was in the back of my mind, of course. I think it's in everyone's mind. Like, oh, is this really going to work for me? Is this really going to work? I mean, after going through it, I mean, it was like a no-brainer. I mean, I probably, should have done it the first time around, but after getting into it, it was definitely a no-brainer. But I mean, of course, always gonna have, is this really gonna work for me? Um, Thought pop into your head, but that was gone pretty quickly after starting up. So.
At which point do you feel like in somebody, because you went from like I guess 10 to 15, well actually the first time we met, like the first time we met, how much were you doing like that time?
Oh, it was probably like five. Yeah, it
Okay,
was
so
it was probably, yeah.
you've went from like you've got like you've went through all those levels from 5 to 50K. From
Mm.
Brady, I guess 1.0 to Brady 2.0 to now kind of like still leveling up. Well, at which point in somebody's business would you think that it would be a good idea to do this kind of program?
I mean, honestly, sooner the better. I think if you can build, I mean, the right habits. I mean, especially, as an entrepreneur, like I can speak from my point of view, of course. But to do it sooner rather than later and build the right type of habits faster, you're gonna be seeing those dividends pay off in much higher amounts and over a longer time period as well. So I'd say sooner the better. Faster you can get it done and implement correctly, the better that's going to pay off in the long run, in my opinion.
Hmm. There are some people that kind of are, again, as I said before, like I don't think this will help me make more. Like I already need what you need to do. Like I already have the plan. I already have great people mentoring me and coaching me to like get help with the business side of things, the leaky
Hmm.
buckets that you mentioned before. So people don't really sometimes see the value in doing something like this because they already believe that they are going to get to their goal either way,
Hmm.
financially wise. What
Hmm.
would you say to that to a person that has this kind of opinion about something like this?
Sure. So, I mean, obviously, it's great to have mentors, coaches for the business side of life. But I mean, you gotta. It can be applied to all aspects of life as well, right? So, to have somebody, I mean, like you, like in that corner of your life, I mean, why not optimize it, right? I mean, why I mean, why lack the attention for that area of your life, right? I mean, if you can optimize, I mean, the way, I mean, kind of my philosophy, like the way like I think about it, just in my own mind, is that, you know, I am the business, right? So depending on like how I perform is going to depend on how the business performs, right? So with that being said, I mean, yes, it's really good. Obviously, you need coaches, mentors for on the business side of things as well. But then you need them in your personal corner as well, right? For I mean, these aspects of your life, the health side, the performance side, you got to have them there as well. So that's how I feel about it.
And also, side note here, an interesting thing is that you through the program you made an interesting connection that also had a some returns for you. So can you elaborate a bit on that?
Yeah, so when I did start up, I was just running like an agency, by myself. Had some people working for me, whatever, but I was kind of just reaching out and networking with some of the guys in the community, which there is a lot of A players, a lot of very high performers in your community. And I was just reaching out to some guys that were, seemed to be at similar levels as me. And one of them reached out to. He was at like the exact same level that I was at the time, and we were talking a little bit, and over the course of a couple of months, we ended up partnering up together. And so he is actually my business partner now. He had his own agency going. I had my own thing going. But then we started a new thing from scratch, and it's basically, I mean, this is our main thing now today. So yeah, met my business partner in the group, in the community, which is pretty cool. So.
Pretty cool stuff. Awesome. So
Mhm.
last words, I guess. Well, somebody that's watching this, and it's like he's probably spoken to us or he's seen the content and he like
Mhm.
resonates, but he's on the fence, on the verge of
Mhm.
doing this. What would you say to that person to make sure like to kind of either nudge him or tell him if it's the right thing or not?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, take the leap of faith. I mean, is what I would say. I mean, it's what I did. And I mean, and there's a lot of noise out there in the market with different offers, whatever the case is. But I mean, you guys got it going on. You guys have a really really good program. I got a lot out of it, and I'm not even just saying that just because we're on here. I really mean that. It was value packed. Uh, completely worth it. So I would say take the leap of faith. I did it, and I'm really happy I did.
Awesome. Awesome. Cool, man. Well, is there anything else you would like to add before we wrap up?
As far as the program goes, I mean, I'll reiterate it again. If you're really to get somebody in your corner, in this aspect of your life, the health performance side of it, basically like the back end of your life, essentially. Um, what you guys were able to tailor together for me, and how personalized it was to helping me specifically, was super critical, very important, I'm reiterating that again, because I think that makes you guys different from whatever else is out there at the end of the day. So really good. I'm really happy with everything. Um, 10 out of 10. My
Awesome, man.
closing thoughts.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thanks for jumping in today and doing this, man. Thanks for
Sure.
sharing your thoughts about this,
Mhm.
and let's see where this business goes. Let's see what Brady Carlson 3.0 looks like from now on. So
Yeah,
that being
yeah.
said,
Check back in a little bit.
yeah, we'll check in the future and potentially do another interview. But without further ado, peace.